I think we can all agree that Call of Duty has gotten pretty crazy over the years. No matter what time period the game is set in, the team always manages to come up with some crazy ideas to shake up the multiplayer. And in the video today, we're going to go over some of the craziest. Number one, I still can't believe they actually put it in a Call of Duty. And I do agree that as we've progressed, things have gotten crazier. It wasn't that crazy back in the day. So when something was put in there that wasn't normal, it made everybody look. What is up, everybody? Chaos here. Welcome to the COD History Top 10 Revival Series. Yeah, we're going to call it that for a little while. We're going to be going over 10 of the absolute craziest things ever placed in Call of Duty multiplayer. So you let me know which of these you actually got to experience firsthand. Drop a like on this video to keep the COD History videos coming. And here we go. At number 10, Micro in Black Ops 3. I still remember when this map was first revealed, the entire internet all said at the same time, wait, really? Micro was a DLC map, and it shrunk all the players down to the size of bugs. It had them do battle on a picnic table, using things like paper plates, hot dogs, all of that for cover, while also coming face to face with actual bugs that you could blow up if you really wanted to. If you ever saw Honey, I Shrunk the Kids way back, you understand. It was honestly one of the most creative maps in COD history, and the sheer number of hidden details and Easter eggs is pretty ridiculous. Call of Duty has gotten pretty ridiculous and wacky over the years, but back in early 2016 when this map was revealed, the series hadn't fully embraced its wacky side. Micro is when the wacky era of COD truly hit its stride, and honestly, it was a really good map. Treyarch comes up with some awesome map ideas when they're allowed to go nuts with it, but when it comes to crazy things added to COD, I couldn't not mention this map where you literally do battle on a picnic table. And if you can get underneath the map in theater mode, I think you find Mason under there floating as well. At number 9, Godzilla vs. Kong in Warzone. Now, Godzilla and King Kong are two of the most popular characters in Hollywood right now, and frankly, it's well deserved. Me and Grady went and watched the latest one. It was awesome. The MonsterVerse got off to a bit of a slow start, but it's finally starting to reach its full potential. A lot of people forget that Warzone actually hosted a Godzilla vs. Kong event long before the MonsterVerse revival. I'm just saying, if this event had taken place in 2024 instead of 2022, it would have been much better for Warzone because that game could use a big blast of hype like this event was. The Godzilla vs. Kong event took place on May 11th, 2022. It was literally a map-spanning showdown between the two monsters while all the players ran around the map and tried not to end up being smushed. It was by far one of the coolest in-game events I've ever seen in a multiplayer game, and hopefully the popularity of the latest Godzilla x Kong movie will encourage Activision to get a new one working. I may have dropped Warzone a while back, but if Godzilla and Kong are going to be there, I might have to reinstall it to see for myself. Before we move on, guys, if you get anything from G2A, use code CHAOS. Get yourself some cash back, whether it be your PC games, whether it be Steam codes. The link is at the top of the description. At number 8, jetpacks in Advanced Warfare. I still remember going to Sledgehammer Studios and seeing this for the first time, and I remember me and T Martin sitting there in the front row, and we just looked at each other like, what did we just watch? Now, jetpacks are something that we all just kind of accept at this point. But when they were introduced to the series, they were a huge deal. Changing the core movement of Call of Duty drastically had a lot of people concerned about the future of the series. And since this game was announced after we had all been suffering through COD Ghost, the reveal of jetpacks in Call of Duty multiplayer set the internet on fire. It was actually very hype at the time. And now that I think about it, I also remember that same day they revealed supply drops to us. And we were just blown away. At that moment, we were like, oh my gosh, this is going to change COD forever. And little did we know, it actually did. At number 7, Showtime in Call of Duty Ghosts. Now, Ghosts had some ridiculous DLC maps, but how many of you remember Showtime? It was actually a remake of Shipment, but compared to other versions of Shipment, it was much more unique. As opposed to just being a shipping yard with a bunch of crazy spawns and ridiculous killstreak potential, Showtime was this big 6v6 game show of death. Field orders would give you access to slot machines that could greatly impact the course of the match, such as dropping a group of 5 care packages onto the tiny little map, or activating sentry turrets at the corners of the map to force the enemy team into certain areas, or even activating gas traps and shrinking the play area, or they'll just give you a chem strike for free. Showtime was an insane map. And when it comes to interactivity on a 6v6 multiplayer map, this has to take the cake as one of the craziest in COD history. It's worth a shout out today, even if a lot of modern COD players forget it ever existed. I mean, seriously, for such a unique map, it's strange that hardly anybody talks about it, especially since it's a remake of Shipment, which is still one of the most popular maps in the franchise. At number 6, Attack of the Undead in COD World War II. Now, COD World War II had a hard time holding the players' attention, myself included, when it first came out, which is why Sledgehammer relied so heavily on seasonal community events. It was a good way to keep people interested in the game, and to their credit, it was a fun idea. Now, the community events came with a lot of new free content and challenges for massive XP boosts for prestige grinders if you wanted that, but the Attack of the Undead event brought some of the craziest bonus content we've ever seen. Included a playlist where hordes of AI zombies would run around the 6v6 multiplayer maps. The game mode Horde Point was literally Hard Point, but with hundreds of zombies running around the map as well. This was the first time in COD history that multiplayer and zombies had been merged this aggressively, and it was a crazy time to be a COD player. Now we crack into the top 5. The Nuke in Modern Warfare 2 2009. I know, the Nuke is a common part of COD multiplayer now, but back in 2009, this was an insane thing to put in an arcade shooter. Getting a 25 kill streak in the original Modern Warfare 2 handed you the launch codes to a tactical nuclear strike that would wipe everybody in the lobby out in the match and give your team the victory regardless of what the score was when you pushed the big red button. The Nuke changed gaming forever, and over the last 15 years, there have been lots of follow-ups to this legendary streak. The Moab, the V2 rocket, the Deatomizer strike, which I always thought was kind of cool. But the original Nuke was a life-changing moment for Call of Duty players, and it quickly became the #1 reason to try and get better at multiplayer. If you could honestly say that you earned a Nuke in Modern Warfare 2, you were probably the coolest kid on the playground at that time. At number 4, Gesture Warfare and Infinite Warfare. Raise your hand if you forgot about this. Now, IW had some interesting ideas for keeping people's attention. This game had a pretty big problem with player counts in the early months, and as a way to keep people coming back to the game, Infinity Ward would use crazy limited time maps and playlists. Perhaps the most fondly remembered was Gesture Warfare. It was exactly like it sounded. TDM, but with emotes instead of guns. It was honestly a lot of fun. It was kind of a wacky bonus mode that used Infinite Warfare's gameplay to its fullest. It was impossible to take this mode seriously, and it was actually hilarious being able to run around and blow people up with a simple hand gesture. Or maybe you pull out an action figure and use it to boop somebody to death with a little emote. Gesture Warfare was cool. And a lot of people, it was the highlight of Infinite Warfare as a whole, which I know that's kind of sad to say, but it is what it is. At number 3, Mechs in Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 added wall running to the COD formula, but it was also the first and only COD multiplayer to throw giant mechs into the mix. One of the DLC maps in Black Ops 3 was called Rupture. It was a remake of the classic World at War map. However, this World at War map was one of the ones with tanks back in 2008, so as a way to make that more appropriate for the future setting of BO3, Treyarch plopped down giant mechs and replaced the tanks. It was seemingly an attempt to get attention of all the Titanfall fans, I think. At the end of the day, Rupture wasn't a huge hit with fans. Many saw it as one of the weakest DLC maps, but it was also pretty crazy being able to play Call of Duty with mech suits. It's a little weird. It was that weird middle ground between Black Ops 3 and Titanfall. It's one of the crazier things ever put in COD multiplayer. Even if the map itself wasn't memorable, we got to drive around in giant mechs. At number 2, Ruins in COD Ghosts. It was one of the most insane DLC maps of all time, and I bet some of you were waiting for me to mention it. This map was added to the game as part of the Devastation map pack. It took place in an abandoned temple in a Mexican jungle. But aside from all the Predator Easter eggs, Ruin also had the field order that would let you be the Predator, complete with the iconic helmet and wrist blades. You got boosted health, thermal vision, active camouflage, a wrist blade for slicing people up, and a plasma caster for blowing people up. And when you are finally taken down, your body blows up in this giant explosion that might as well have been a chem strike. The Predator was one of the most insane things I've ever experienced in any Call of Duty game. And honestly, I think there's only one thing in the entire franchise that deserves a higher spot. At number 1 today, of the craziest things ever put in Call of Duty, has to be the entire map of Fog in Call of Duty Ghosts. Released as part of the Onslaught DLC, it was a downloadable map in Ghosts that quickly became one of the most memorable aspects of COD history as a whole. The map was set in the middle of a forest in Washington. It was jam-packed with Easter eggs, horror movie references. There was even a field order that would turn you into Michael Myers himself with the music. Fans discovered references to Ghostbusters, Evil Dead, Scream, Friday the 13th, Lake Placid, The Walking Dead, and The Ring, and there's probably way, way, way more that we all missed. But on top of all that, you got to play as Michael Myers if you were lucky enough to complete the right field order, and when you took control of the iconic killer, you would get that iconic music from the original Halloween movie, and it would last until Michael was taken out. Fog has become the gold standard for how to do third-party crossovers in Call of Duty. I'm still fingers crossed and holding out hope that Fog will be remastered at some point in the near future, because the fact that a map this awesome is stuck in COD Ghosts instead of a better COD game is kind of heartbreaking. We need it again. This is one remap or remake that I 100% approve. I do. And there you have it, my friends. Let me know some other crazy stuff that didn't make it in. I think of the alien gun. I can't even remember. Oh, the Venom X. That was pretty crazy. We could have put that in there. There's all kinds of stuff. You guys let me know in the comments, and I'll see you soon.